boardroom doors stay closed for a reason. When Brian Rolapp and Phil Mickelson clash over the future of professional golf, the real battle has nothing to do with a single microphone or a dramatic stage. The YouTube headlines promise an explosive summit with players erupting in the aisles. The actual reality is much colder and far more dangerous for the sport. Behind the polished PR statements, a massive structural change is dividing the locker room. Rolapp is building an exclusive fortress with strict new rules for everyone. Mickelson stands on the outside, representing the veterans who refuse to play by that new blueprint. You already know the deep history between these two sides, so we will skip the basic background. What matters right now is the immediate, ugly fallout. You clicked on this video to see the exact moment the player base finally snapped. You want to know the specific triggers that turned quiet frustration into loud demands. The truth is, the eruption did not happen on a sunny golf course. It happened in private, closed-door meetings where careers and millions of dollars were put on the line. Right now, Rolapp thinks his new fortress will keep the rebels out. He completely forgot about the one huge flaw hiding inside his own foundation. Watching this sport lately makes me believe loyalty is completely dead, replaced entirely by cold business deals. Do you agree with my take, or do you think players still care about the tour? If you want the real stories behind the golf headlines without the fake drama, hit that subscribe button right now. Forget the old 40-week grind. The PGA Tour is no longer a long marathon. Under Brian Rolapp, the schedule is shrinking down to a maximum of 26 elite events. This means a smaller, closed loop of top-tier golf. The rest of the field is left fighting for scraps. Under this new blueprint, the real terror is the promotion and relegation system. Imagine playing your way into the top tier, only to lose your spot the next year and drop down to the minor leagues. Every single weekend becomes a pure survival match. You either win your spot or you lose your livelihood. This ruthless structure was built to protect the business. It was also designed to make one specific rebel look completely irrelevant. When asked directly about the LIV rebels, Rolapp did not offer a warm welcome back. He gave them a cold, hard reality check. He explicitly stated that not every defector is returning to the fold. The tour only wants the guys who actually help the product. If you are not drawing ratings or selling tickets, you are left outside in the cold. Rolapp made his survival strategy very clear. The old model was bleeding viewers and losing broadcast value. By creating an exclusive, limited event fortress, he forces the television networks to pay top dollar for the remaining access. He is trading quantity for pure, concentrated quality. But this new model ignores the hidden costs that keep the tour running. When a player gets relegated, they do not just lose prize money, they lose their weekly expense checks. Their caddy loses their guaranteed weekly draw. Suddenly, flying commercial instead of private is not just a lifestyle downgrade, it is a financial emergency. The caddies are the ones who actually feel the pain first. They are the ones doing the math on hotel bills and entry fees when their player drops down a tier. If the caddies start leaving because the pay is too unstable, the players will follow. Rolapp is risking the entire support system just to make the top tier look better on television. Spreading through the mid-tier ranks is pure financial panic. Veterans ranked 40th in the world suddenly realize their guaranteed paychecks are gone. Fighting a teenager from the developmental tour is now the only way to keep a tour card. Without that safety net, careers end overnight. Rolapp believes locking the gates will save the sport. He completely misunderstood the exact reason his biggest critic walked away in the first place. Phil Mickelson did not walk away from the PGA Tour just for a massive paycheck. The money was a factor, sure, but the real reason goes much deeper. For years, Mickelson believed the tour operated like a monopoly. He saw the rules, the fines, and the control the establishment held over the players. In his mind, the system was broken, and the players were just gears in a machine that only benefited the executives at the top. When Live Golf came along, Mickelson saw a chance to break that monopoly. He became the face of the rebellion. He was not just playing golf, he was actively trying to dismantle the old model completely. This is the exact mindset that puts him on a direct collision course with Brian Rolapp. Rolapp wants to build a stronger, more exclusive fortress. Mickelson wants to tear down the walls entirely. You might think Mickelson just wanted to play for free money. The reality is, he had a much darker plan for the PGA Tour's future. While Rolapp was quietly restructuring the schedule, Mickelson was gathering his own ammunition. He knew the veterans were angry. He knew the mid-tier players were terrified of the new promotion rules. He started having private conversations. laying the groundwork for a massive pushback. He was not just going to accept the new rules, he was going to challenge them in front of everyone. Mickelson understood something crucial about human nature. People do not fight for money alone. They fight for respect. He started telling anyone who would listen that the new PGA Tour model was a trap. It was designed to make the players dependent on a few elite invites. He warned them that once they accepted this new system, they would never have leverage again. He did not just use words to convince them, he used hard numbers. In private dinners and hotel lobby meetings, Mickelson pulled out his phone and showed the other players the exact math. He showed them how the new bonus pools were being redirected to only the top 10 guys. He used his own career as a warning label. He reminded them how the old tour tried to push him out when he was in his 20s, and how he had to fight for every single dollar. He told them this new system was just the old system with a fancier name. Rolapp thought he had the players figured out. He had no idea Mickelson was already drafting the exact arguments that would turn the locker room upside down. This brings us to the moment the title promised, the moment the players finally erupted. It was not a single movie-style speech on a stage. It was a series of brutal, honest conversations that echoed Mickelson's warnings. The explosive speech was actually a collective realization among the player base. During private player meetings, the veterans finally spoke up. They looked at the new 26 event model and realized the trap Mickelson had warned them about. The top 20 players would be fine. The rest would be fighting for their financial lives every single week. The promotion and relegation system was not just a sporting challenge, it was a career killer. Think about a guy who has been on tour for 15 years. His knees hurt. His back is stiff. He knows he only has 3 or 4 good years left. Now tell him he has to fight a 20-year-old rookie just to keep his job. That is not a fair fight. That is a setup for failure. The physical toll of this new system is what really broke the dam. These guys are not machines. They need rest to avoid injury. But under a pure relegation model, taking a week off means dropping points. It means losing your spot. So, players are going to start playing through pain. They will tear up their bodies just to keep their tour cards for one more year. When the union rep finished explaining the new point system at the last meeting, nobody said a word. The only sound in the room was the clicking of pens. They were all just staring at the whiteboard, realizing their bodies were about to pay the price for this new business plan. Let us look at the actual math of a weekend. A guy ranked 50th makes just enough to cover his travel and his caddy. If he misses the cut by one stroke, he goes home with a massive loss. Now add the fear of dropping a tier. He is not just playing for a paycheck. He is playing for his family's mortgage. You see guys missing 3-foot putts on the 18th hole, not because they lack skill, but because the weight of the new point system is crushing their nerves. The tour wants a product where everyone is relaxed and playing their best golf. Instead, they are creating a high-stakes environment where every single swing feels like a final exam. The eruption happened when the mid-tier players finally connected the dots. They realized Rolapp's cold message about LIV defectors applied to them too. If you were not in the top tier, you were expendable. The locker room turned into a pressure cooker. Players who had never spoken out against the tour suddenly started demanding answers. They wanted to know who was protecting their interests. This is where Mickelson's stance became the ultimate weapon. Even though he was on the LIV side, his core argument was being validated by the PGA Tour members. Mickelson had always said the tour did not care about the average player. Now, the average player was looking at the new rules and realizing Mickelson was right. The speech was the collective voice of 50 players telling the establishment that they refused to be treated like disposable assets. They pointed out the hypocrisy. The tour tells them to be loyal, but the tour will drop them the second they stop winning. The dread in the locker room was real. Players were looking at their peers, wondering who would survive the cut. The unity of the PGA Tour was fracturing from the inside. The players were not just mad about the money. They were mad about the lack of respect. They felt the new rules were designed to squeeze them dry and throw them away when they got older. The players finally found their voice, but speaking out was only the first step. The real fight was about to move from the locker room to the boardroom. When the player directors brought these complaints to the PGA Tour Policy Board, the response was ice cold. The establishment told them this was the only way to survive. They argued that without the elite events, the whole tour would collapse. The players were told to adapt or leave. This dismissive attitude only added fuel to the fire. The eruption was no longer just a quiet complaint. It was a full-blown revolt against the leadership. The board thought they could crush the rebellion with a simple vote. They completely underestimated how much damage the players were willing to do to prove their point. Now we have to look at the final ledger. What does this massive clash actually mean for the future of professional golf? We have Brian Rolapp building a fortress, and we have the players, fueled by Mickelson's ideology, trying to break it down. The reality is that both sides are taking a massive risk. Rolapp is betting that fans only care about the top stars. He is betting that the casual viewer will not notice if the mid-tier players disappear. If he is wrong, the broadcast deals will collapse and the fortress will fall. Television networks pay for certainty. They want to know who is playing on Sunday afternoon. If the top players are worried about relegation, they might pull out of smaller events to rest. That hurts the ratings. If the ratings drop, the next TV deal will be worth millions less. Rolapp is playing a very dangerous game of chicken with the broadcasters. And the broadcasters are not the only ones watching the numbers. The corporate sponsors are getting nervous too. Brands like Rolex and NetJets do not want to pay millions to sponsor a league that looks like a minor league baseball team. They want prestige. They want stability. A relegation battle might be great for the players at the bottom, but it looks messy on a television screen. If the top events start looking like a chaotic scramble instead of a polished showcase, the sponsors will start asking questions. They might even take their marketing budgets to other sports. Rolapp is risking the premium brand image of the PGA Tour just to force the players into a corner. Think about the fan experience. People buy tickets to see the best players in the world compete at the highest level. They do not buy tickets to watch a desperate scramble for survival. When the top guys are resting because they are terrified of losing their points, the tournament loses its star power. The grandstands get empty. The television ratings drop. The casual fan just turns off the TV. Rolapp is trying to fix a viewership problem by creating a format that actually drives the casual viewer away. It is a massive gamble with the actual product on the course. On the other side, the players are risking their own stability. By rejecting the new model, they are threatening the very system that pays their mortgages. Mickelson's rebellion gave them the courage to speak up, but courage does not pay the bills. If the tour loses its television partners, everyone loses. Even the guys who stayed on the PGA Tour are looking at LIV differently. They see the guaranteed money. They see the lack of relegation. Mickelson sold them a dream, but Rolapp is selling them a nightmare. The most interesting part of this whole situation is Mickelson's legacy. He left the PGA Tour as a villain in the eyes of many fans. But right now, his philosophy is the exact thing the PGA Tour members are using to fight their own boss. He proved that the old system was flawed. Even if the players stay on the PGA Tour, they are playing by a new mental rulebook. They know they have leverage, and they know the establishment is vulnerable. This mindset is also infecting the younger guys coming up through the developmental tour. They are watching this civil war and taking notes. They see the veterans getting squeezed. They see the promotion rules changing every year. They are realizing that loyalty to the PGA Tour does not guarantee them a comfortable retirement. So, when they finally get their tour cards, they are not going to play with the old-school gratitude. They are going to play like mercenaries. They will take the money, protect their bodies, and jump to the highest bidder the second their contract allows it. The culture of the tour is changing forever, and Rolapp is the one who accelerated it. This war is far from over. The next move will decide if professional golf remains a closed club or opens up to the players who actually play the game. The fans are watching all of this closely. They want to see the best players in the world compete against each other. They do not care about the boardroom politics. They just want good golf. But the boardroom politics are dictating who gets to play. Until Rolapp and the players find a compromise, the sport will remain divided. The tension will not go away until someone blinks. You can feel the pressure building for the next major championship. One bad shot or one bad interview could make the whole fragile system collapse. So, where does this leave us? We have a CEO trying to save his business by making it exclusive. We have a rebel captain who proved the system was broken. And we have a locker room full of players who are finally realizing their own worth. The explosive speech was not just words. It was a wake-up call. The players erupted because they finally understood the stakes. They are not just fighting for prize money. They are fighting for their right to exist in the sport they dedicated their lives to. Brian Rolapp has the power. Phil Mickelson has the ideology. But the players have the numbers. The next few months will show us who actually holds the cards. Will the fortress hold, or will the walls come crashing down? If you enjoyed this deep dive into the real drama of professional golf, Make sure to subscribe for more honest analysis. We cut through the noise to bring you the truth about the game we love.